You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Great to have you with us live in Richmond. Debate coming up at 8. Joining me now, Senator Tennessee Marsha Blackburn, running for governor as well. Senator Blackburn, always good to have you with us.
It is so good to be with you. Thank you so much.
Marsha, you got a lot going on. Every time I turn around, you're in the news. You've got something big. You're really fired up right now about the fraud cases that are going on, not only in Minneapolis, but in Ohio, in California, in God knows where. Rand Paul 2 days ago saying that he thought this was in the hundreds of billions of dollars. In the House, Tom Emmer, Majority Whip, basically saying that he thinks Walsh is complicit, that they've got whistleblowers in there now singing like canaries, and he thought he was going to get arrested and eventually be in a lot of hot water for this legally. Tell us about the Fraud Accountability Act that you are involved in and you wrote to deport and denaturalize illegals who commit fraud, Marsha.
Yes, what I did was look at the Immigration and Nationality Act, the INA. And as we were talking about the fraud, I was looking at how you denaturalize or deport individuals that commit fraud, and realized that it wasn't explicitly all fraud in the act. It was some fraud, some types of fraud. So the Fraud Accountability Act says that all fraud, not just fraud above $10,000, but all fraud.
All fraud.
All fraud, local, state, and federal. If you're defrauding the government or you're defrauding a private citizen, then you can be deported and denaturalized. Now, what it also does is to allow these individuals, when they are apprehended, to be held until they can get into court, and then it allows any federal court to hear these cases, because, cases get backed up in immigration court for years, even decades, more than a decade. And we want to be able to denaturalize and deport these individuals that are defrauding the government. And it goes back, it's retroactive, it goes back to 1996, so that you capture much of what is this modern day defrauding of the government and setting up. They're called fraud meals. These people that get online and they bilk senior citizens out of millions of dollars, and many times their life savings. And then since we filed this bill, and we've been joined by several of our colleagues on this bill, Cotton Cornyn, Lindsey Graham, Cynthia Lummis, and others. Right. And what we have seen now is that people are calling and saying, have you looked at this on property fraud or homeless programs or drug addiction? We are getting so many people calling us, and we know that every senator is hearing this. This fraud is widespread. People have seen it. They have witnessed it. They know there are programs that are not delivering what they should be delivering. And the money that is there for these social service programs and health care and different components, it is there for the most vulnerable. It is there for our citizens. And you have the GAO report that recently came out, and it tags fraud in our annual budget. This is every year. They think fraud is running somewhere between $250 and $521 billion a year.
Yeah, that's what your colleague from Kentucky said, that he thought it was upwards of $400 to $500 billion if you take all the fraud around the country that has been perpetrated on the American taxpayer. So your bill, which basically to me is a no-brainer, like what Democrat would vote in opposition to that? Like who would say, no, it's okay to steal from the taxpayer and stay here and keep stealing? Like who would vote no?
And the thing to me is, why would a Democrat oppose this bill?
Right.
We should be able to move this bill quickly because
Right.
it will help expedite these hearings and denaturalizing these individuals. When you look at the fact that you had Somalis that were there in Ohio putting cash into suitcases, declaring it, going to Minneapolis, and getting with Somalis there. And then they have shipped suitcases, taken these suitcases over to Qatar, where the money would be laundered. And it is hundreds of millions of dollars that they have done
How
that
did the
way.
money get like there was a report yesterday that like $2.4 million dollars went from John Glenn Airport in Columbus to Minneapolis, to the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, then to Dubai. I mean, if you're traveling with over $10,000, you have to submit a form and report that. How does millions of dollars get through two domestic airports and then go to uh, the Emirates? Like, how does that happen?
And my understanding is that some of the agents, when it was declared, reported it, but nothing was ever done. So
Unbelievable.
they exited the country with this money
It's
that
unbelievable.
they had in some way laundered through these schemes, and then it took it out of the country. So it's really quite a story. And honestly, I think that this is going to be one of the biggest issues we see in the midterms. When you look at now the fraud investigations that are taking place in New York and
Mhm.
Ohio and of course Minnesota and
Mhm.
California and Illinois and Texas has an investigation going on, and Mississippi has a trial going on right now. People are going to say, "Hey, wait a minute.
Mhm.
You are supposed to be a good steward of our taxpayer dollars,
Mhm.
and to continually defraud the taxpayer to the point that you're looking at hundreds of billions of dollars a year." And there was a former assistant GAO head that had said he thought the fraud number was more about $750 billion a year.
It's
Now,
incredible.
that would fund our
That's a
entire
year.
Medicaid program.
Uh,
A year, a year. See,
Senator
that would
Blackburn.
fund the whole Medicaid program. And it's $100 billion short of what we spend on our military
So you're talking about $750 billion of fraud a year, not just a one-off, a
a
year.
year. Right.
I mean,
That's
it's a
right.
stunning number, and here's basically, if you're going to work right now, you're going in your truck, you're one of my listeners across the country, you're punching a clock, or you got up at 4 a.m. like I did. A lot of our listeners working two jobs to just make ends meet. Basically, these people stealing money from you think you're a schmuck. Like, you go to work, they don't, they just steal your money. It's unbelievable, Marsha.
It really is. And making it all fraud was important to do because what we're learning from some of these shell companies is that they would set up this nonprofit. It was a shell. They were not taking care of children or elders or serving meals to underserved individuals. They were just taking the check and dividing the money. So, see, you would be in the clear if you gave your brother, sister, spouse, cousin $9,999. But then you would be liable if you gave them $10,000.
It's unbelievable.
So we needed to be able to charge each and every one, or the government needs to be able to charge each of those occurrences and not just say, well, if it's under $10,000, you can defraud people.
You're,
There are a lot of seniors who have lost thousands of dollars on these scams from these fraud dens. There are, you looked at these shell companies that were to be feeding vulnerable families, and instead of thousands of meals, they were doing maybe 15 meals a day
it's
and taking the
unbelievable.
money. Or transportation services, but they've never really put anybody in the van, but they bought a vehicle and they have a storefront. So that is not what this money is there for. The money is intentional in serving people, and it is not to be going into somebody, criminals that want to pad their pockets and then make a sport of defrauding the U.S. taxpayer.
Absolutely insane. We're with Senator Tennessee Republican Marsha Blackburn. Senator Blackburn, also an announced candidate for governor of Tennessee. As you know, I'm a fan, Marsha. Do you have a more Titans coach before I get into ice?
I don't know what we're going to do. We just got to be sure the Titans get their act together and it can win. We'd like to see them as a Super Bowl champ.
I just want to win five games. Like I've lowered my expectation. Like just 5 games beats 2 or 3, which is what we're normally doing. Senator Blackburn with us. ICE. I want to get to this. A lot of people, a lot of Republicans wringing their hands now over the optics of ICE. President Trump tripling down, sent another 1,000 ICE agents to Minneapolis. Now you see the disruption that's going on. The Minnesota Police Department ordered to stand down by Mayor Fry and the governor. What are your thoughts on that, Marsha?
Well, when you look at what is happening with ICE, God bless these ICE agents. And if the Minneapolis Police Department were doing their job, if law enforcement in the state were working with ICE, then you would not have ICE on the streets in Minneapolis. They are having to go there and go into the communities and apprehend these criminal, illegal aliens, people that have committed violent crimes, because they're not able to go apprehend them in the jails. And they are not holding them. See, you should, under the 287G program, when you apprehend someone and they have this criminal rap sheet, you are to call ICE, and they have 48 hours to come and get them at the jail. And then that way, they are not out in the community. And when you see what is happening to these agents and the mayor and the governor and how they are incenting these protests, I think it is absolutely horrific. ICE is there to enforce the rule of law. We are a nation that abides by the rule of law. And what you see happening is something that is just terrible. And everyone mourns the loss of life. And that, I think the situation there is just really very sad. But God bless those ICE agents for showing up and going to work every day.
Marsha, final thing. How are we going to avoid a government shutdown? And are you in favor of getting rid of the 60-vote cloture rule and the filibuster so you guys can actually get something in there done?
Well, we are going to avoid a government shutdown today. We're going to pass another 3-bill package of our appropriations bills. And here's the thing, what we are doing, and I know there's some people that vote no on every spending bill, but John, what we have to do is get off the Biden budget and onto a Trump budget. So after today, we will have 6. We'll have half of those approach bills finished. And that will put us onto those 6 departments. Everything is going to be done on Trump and Republican numbers. They are numbers that are lower than the numbers last year. 5 more bills are completely ready for a vote. The House will pass them next week, and when we come back, the Senate is out next week, but we will take up those 5 bills. The one bill that is still being negotiated is Homeland Security, and that funding is the funding that is up for debate. But no, we will not have we're not going to have a government shutdown.
Are you in favor of getting rid of this 60-vote cloture rule?
You know, the 60 vote rule is something that has helped to protect minority concerns. And of course, Republicans have used that, pardon me, when we were in the minority. And we don't have it on some of the judges. Harry Reid had made that change. And there is discussion about on the spending processes, removing that 60 vote threshold at this point. There's not the 60 votes that would be necessary to remove that threshold. But here is what I do know. We have to make certain we retain the majority in the Senate so that the Democrats don't have the ability to get in there and try to change it and add Puerto Rico and D.C. and
I think the
Guam and
concern, though,
states.
Marcia, the concern is that if the Democrats take over, they're going to end it the next day because they tried to do it the last time, and you had two Democratic senators that wouldn't give them the 51 votes they need, and both of those are gone now, and that is Manchin in West Virginia and Kirsten Sinema. They're gone. Even Fetterman voted for getting rid of it. So the concern that many of us have is that if the Democrats take over, they're going to get rid of the cloture rule the next day. They don't really care. And so then they're going to get Puerto Rico, and they're going to get where I live, Washington, D.C., and everything else. So I think that's a concern that many of us have.
Yeah, that's a concern, and that's part of the deliberation as we discuss the issue.
All right.
You're right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
You got
Marsha
it.
Blackburn, so thank you for the compliment. It is always good to talk to you, Marsha, as always.
Absolutely.
My choice for Titans coach, I got two, Harbaugh or McCarthy. I want somebody that has won games, not some offensive
I'm with
coordinator
you.
that doesn't do crap.
President Trump is right on this. We're not tired of winning. We want in Nashville. We want a team that can win.
Oh my God, it's the last two seasons have just been brutal. It's been a brutal watch. But we
Yeah,
got a good quarterback, so we'll see what happens. Marsha Blackburn, thank you for being with us, Senator, as always. Also, as everybody
you got
knows,
it.
Marsha running for governor. That'll be in an August primary. She's the heavy favorite there. Follow her on social media at Marsha Blackburn, at Marsha Blackburn. That's SHA, by the way, at Marsha Blackburn. Marsha, thanks for being with us, as always. John Fredericks Media Network, big debate, RVP, Republican Party of Virginia. Some people like me think it's an oxymoron, but we'll see what happens. Somebody's going to try to take over and I guess out of the ashes, raise the phoenix or something like that. We're going to be right back with that quick break here, top of the hour news, and we're going to be right back with the debate. Keep it right here on the John Fredericks Media Network, live in Richmond.